Davante Adams was traded to the New York Jets for a conditional third-round pick. It upgrades to a second-rounder based on playing time. Does this make the Jets better enough to get them out of the 2-4 hole? I'll just say down the stretch, I have the Jets going 7-4 down the stretch. They're 2-4 right now. That slots them at 9-8. I don't know if that's enough in the AFC. The Ravens look great. The Bills look great. Now, there is a little bit of confusion at the bottom of the division. The Texans look good. Yeah, the Bengals are struggling a little bit. The Dolphins might be missing out on some of those aspects. You know what the Raiders are. Clearly, they might be blowing it up. They send Adams to the Chiefs. But does this really make the New York Jets better to get them out of that 2-4 hole? I think it does in a way. Obviously, we know what Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers have done, but Davante's a veteran. He's a guy who not only gets in the end zone, but gets his targets, gets his production, gets his yards. He can mentor a Garrett Wilson, a potential Breece Hall, give Aaron Rodgers that confidence to know that Mike Williams isn't going to slip and miss a pass, or that, Garrett Wilson isn't going to potentially not drag his toes, or Breece Hall is going to fumble. And we knew those were some of the things with Aaron Rodgers coming in. And now Aaron Rodgers has one of the best wide receivers in the NFL over the last few years, and one of the best wide receivers he's ever played with. Yes, he's had Alan Lazard, and I believe there was another. I thought there was another receiver that Aaron Rodgers was trying to do Aaron Rodgers things with, and basically get him recruited to the team, no matter what. So it will help in the sense of familiarity and veteran leadership and production. There's no doubt about that. If you put Davante Adams just about with any team in the NFL, in a way, even if it's only by a win or two, they're going to make them better. At some point, his production will put them in a position to win. Now, the Jets are paying the rest of Davante Adams' salary. The Raiders aren't paying any of it. Originally, the Jets were going to have to pay just over $84 million, which was left on his contract. He had a cap hit this year of I think his contract this year was $17 million annually. About $11 million was due on it, but over the next 2 years, it would be $36 million each for each year. Jets said not so fast. They reworked the deal. New Jets wide receiver Davante Adams already has restructured his contract to lower the salary cap number this season to $3.21 million per sources. This gives the Jets capability to make a move at the trade deadline, which I'm curious now. Did I just say something dumb and maybe the trade deadline's already passed us? When is it? No. Okay. So we got 3 weeks. It's 4 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday, November 5th. That is when the trade deadline officially ends. So, what's up, Bruns? Yes, sir. Jets will be playing for a playoff spot at the end of the year. A couple of games at the end will decide it. I don't know, bro. I got them going 9-8. Like I said, Davante's good. He's going to make any team better. He's going to make Aaron Rodgers feel more familiar. But, yeah. So, this gives the Jets a chance to be viable at the trade deadline. And even better, there's 2 voidable years that were added to the deal, and the two sides now will discuss his future in New York after this season. So, it kind of pisses you off as maybe a fan of a team that wanted Davante Adams. I never thought the Saints were going to get him. We don't have any damn money. And even if we did get him, we'd probably piss him off just as bad as in Las Vegas, because the Saints are still doing Saints things. But the Jets just gave up a conditional third-round pick. It'll probably upgrade to a second based on playing time. I'm sure Davante is going to play most of the season here in New York for $3.21 million for a guy who's going to, good bit, make your offense better. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Now, there are talks of Mike Williams being traded now that Davante Adams is there. It was disgusting that Aaron Rodgers scapegoated him in the post-game presser for falling down, and now he's going to be shipped out. But this just feels, it just feels a little confusing, right? You fire Robert Saleh 5 games into the Aaron Rodgers era, 5 full games, 6 if you want to be technical with the 4 snaps that Aaron Rodgers took last year on the opening game. Then you trade for a hurt wide receiver who suddenly might be ready for the next game, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 4-2, which I have you losing to fall to 2-5. Can you dig yourself out of that? Eventually, you will be mathematically disqualified from making the playoffs, all behind a still bad offensive line that's been bad for well over 3 seasons now. We still see Aaron Rodgers, like, the ball's got to get out quick. When it gets out quick, it looks good. When Aaron Rodgers has to go through progressions, he has to move, He has to maneuver, throw off his back foot. That's when they can still do it. They had a chance to win the game last night. They can 100% still do it. You know, touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson with the 2 feet. The touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers kind of over the middle into the end zone. Like Aaron Rodgers can still make those type of plays, but the O-line's still bad. And Aaron Rodgers isn't looking to be like that Aaron Rodgers we knew. Clearly, I'm saying a point that we all understand here, but it still ties into the confusion. You fire Robert Saleh 5 games into the Aaron Rodgers era. You trade for a hurt wide receiver. You get him for a great deal. So who cares if he's hurt? If you got him this year for $3 million and he doesn't play a snap and he wants to be committed to you for the next 2 years, maybe even one, to maybe go chase a ring with Aaron Rodgers in New York, that's cool. Really, everything Davante Adams does is a plus because the man signed a fat contract with the Raiders, which it kind of made his contract feel like it was untradeable. Now we have teams eat dead cap and all those, aspects that can change it up. But I guess here's my final sentiment on this. It does make the Jets better. I still don't think they make the playoffs. They got him for a steal. I'm still a little confused because of the track record of everything. And if y'all been watching the show, I said it before the season that the Jets should run from Aaron Rodgers. Don't walk, run away from Aaron Rodgers. And my reasons were the following. His personal traits, and I'm okay, this is one of the few times that I will mention a quarterback's personal traits, but unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the media coverage from the teams he's been on and his appearances on the Pat McAfee show have made us understand that he can be a little condescending. Aaron Rodgers can kind of be an asshole. We can throw some of his teams under the bus. He'll bicker with the coach. He tries to be the GM. He tries to be the head coach. So, his personal traits, the lack of commitment for the new players, which I think we're clearly seeing this year. I think he's kind of getting on the page with Garrett Wilson, but you can kind of almost still feel the tension when there's not a connection between the two of them when it's a pass that Aaron Rodgers has put right there. And you know it. You see it on TV. You see Garrett Wilson kind of look over at Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers just kind of, poker facing it, but up here, Aaron Rodgers is pissed. He's a 4-time MVP. He has every right to be. He came to a bottom 5 organization, arguably front office wise, in the NFL for whatever reason. So he's going to have some say. You're going to see him get pissed off. But in that same sentiment, he still needs to be able to bond with these players. He was an aging quarterback, and he likes to run the show. Oh, Randall Cobb, I believe, was the other Jet that is that Aaron Rodgers bargained for. But we've seen him bargain for Randall Cobb. So I'm bargaining for Allen Lazard. Let me get Davante Adams in here. People can say what they want about Aaron Rodgers pushing Robert Saleh off from the hug on the sideline, but that just feels a little different now. A few weeks later, we see what's played out. 2-4, coach is fired. Are you panic trading for a wide receiver? Not really, because you got him for cheap. That is kind of a high draft pick, but his talent's definitely worth it when he's healthy. And it kind of seems like everything we've come Aaron Rodgers, we've come to know with Aaron Rodgers, what he's come to be, is now coming to fruition. Coach is fired 5 games in. He has one of his favorite receivers of the last few years with him. But we still see the personality. We still see the lack of commitment to blending with to meshing with young players. So, again, it'll work out in its time. Like my buddy Brun said, who just tapped into the show, love you, bro. I still need to get you those birthday gifts. I think the Jets are going to finish 9-8. They might sneak in because of how weird the AFC is this year and just kind of the parity of the NFL. But yeah, Davante Adams traded to the Jets. We'll see what New York is going to do with this situation. I'm going to get to your comments, friends, before we go to the next topic. Graziano said they built the house without the foundation. Yeah, 100%. If you build a house on pencils and cardboard, it's not going to withstand a storm when adversity comes. If you pour a slab 6 feet deep or build a basement that's fundamentally sound or put a crawl space on that thing, yeah, it'll be better. It's a great analogy. That is the problem with a lot of NFL teams. You build the house without the foundation. That's the number one killer relationships is uncommunicated expectations. That's what we see a lot. Bad communication with these front offices. You got to have an alignment. Shout out Colin Cowherd for telling me this. That old head's taught me something. You have your owner. Owner has to be in alignment with head coach. Owner has to be in alignment with president. President has to be in alignment with GM. Probably flop the two. I feel like the GM kind of has more say over the president. Underneath that is the head coach. Underneath that is the quarterback. If those four pillars aren't necessarily lined up from the jump, you're not going to be a formidable franchise. Look at the Saints right now. Look at the Jets right now. Look at what the Browns were doing. Look at the Panthers going through multiple coaches and quarterbacks. David Tepper wanted Bryce Young, but Dave Canales wanted CJ Stroud. The head coach wanted CJ Stroud, but the owner said, I want the mini Kyler Murray, who's not durable and who has now been benched, and who knows what the future is going to be. I mean, for Christ's sake, you have Bryce Young in his second year. They're talking about if he's going to get traded to a team that needs a quarterback. So, all right, I'm off that. Y'all know I think that coaching is everything in the NFL. And when you don't have a good coach, when you don't have a good quarterback, or if you have a delusional owner or GM, hell will ensue without question.